Hello Virgos, and welcome to Embrace Moon Tarot and your August 2017 reading. So I was sitting here and I was shuffling the cards a little bit, trying to tap into what vibrations I was getting for Virgos, and I was kind of feeling a sense of satisfaction. So I feel that there are quite a few of you who are satisfied, very kind of pleased, and it has to do with something you yourself have done or accomplished or has seen come to fruition or played a part in somehow. Just some self-satisfaction. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm tapping into right now. So let's go ahead and shuffle and see what kind of message we can get for you for the month of August. Present, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, strength, potential obstacle, recent past, and current or potential outcome. I'm going to start with the recent past, and I feel like the recent past, this indicates that self-satisfaction that I was kind of indicating when I first started. Things have kind of come together and you feel, like I said, just self-satisfied. That was the most prominent word that keeps coming to my mind, is there's this satisfaction with how things have played out, how things have come together. You feel like you can take a step back and overlook how things have transpired and brought you to where you are currently, and how it feels, not that it's the perfect foundation or that your foothold is as strong as you would like, but it is enough for you to feel satisfied, and to be able to feel like you can kind of almost let your guard down, as far as not feel like you have to work as hard, because things are just starting to fall into place in a way that makes you feel like things are going your way now. Things are going in the direction that you've been working very hard to have go in a specific direction. So it's just some satisfaction. I feel that there's a little bit of a warning that comes with this particular card, and that you should be very careful that you don't get too comfortable, that things get stagnant. You want to make sure that there's still a constant flow. You're still doing what you need to do, but you don't do too much either. Keep that good balance going. Don't get too self-satisfied and get too relaxed to the point where you're not participating in getting things moving, because things can get stagnant and you're going to get dissatisfied fairly quickly. But whatever it is that transpired recently, it really made you feel like you could finally kind of settle in and feel like you had a strong footing. And the current energy is Five of Cups, and I feel that, ironically, despite having that sense of self-satisfaction, there's been some emotional struggle that you've been going through, and it's still ongoing. Whatever it is, it's not completely gone. It's better than it was. It's not taking up as much energy that it once did. It's not making you feel as unsettled as it once did, but it's still very real. You can't ignore the fact that currently there's still some sort of emotional upheaval or a loss that you're experiencing that is not going to go away quickly, and it's still going to have to be dealt with. But whatever it is, it doesn't take away from how you feel, and I feel that it is connected in the sense that you have come to a place, despite whatever this is, you've come to a place where you definitely feel that it's better. Like I said, you have a stronger foothold, you feel more solid, you feel better grounded than you've had in a really long time, yeah, for quite a while. And So you're not disregarding the fact that it's been an emotional struggle, but you can't help but feel satisfied that you've made it this far. You've made it to where you are. You haven't completely lost your cool, I guess you could say. So be happy with where you're at. But yeah, definitely, I feel that this is also letting you know that the universe, spirit is recognizing that, yeah, you're right. It still has been emotionally trying, and it still is emotionally trying, and that's not just going to go away with a snap of a finger. But you are right in the fact that you are doing well, and you should be happy, and you should be pleased with where you're at. But also deal with the emotional factor. Physically, we have 8 of Wands, and whatever this is that's happening in your life, I feel that this is, even though it's indicating emotional, it is definitely something that's very much what makes up your world, your home life. I feel mostly home life has to do with mostly home life, whatever it is. Not so much career. Career could be in some ways linked, but I feel it's very much home and family. Whatever this is very much home and family. And so in the physical realm, what we have here, I feel that with this particular reading, it definitely ties in with physical, as in your home life, what makes up your personal world. And this satisfaction that you have, this pleased feeling that you have regarding coming through this emotional trying time, being able to feel that you're finally getting some foothold, even though the emotional aspect isn't quite over yet and you're going to be feeling it for a while. That movement that you feel is coming, I feel this 8 of Wands shows that you're right. There's some movement that's going to be coming. It's not done yet. You know it's not done yet. You know that there's still going to be some work that needs to be done, or some things that are going to be occurring as a result of what has transpired. And whatever it is that makes you feel that you finally got a foothold or a stronghold, I feel like that's somewhat contingent on what you perceive is going to be happening. This movement in a direction that you've been hoping for, that you've been waiting for, you've been working for, it is actually going to come just as you feel. So, and I feel that that's why you're being told not to get too comfortable, because you got to flow with this. You got to work with this. Don't sit back and let this go, come to pass however it will. Do your part in making this move in the direction that you've been hoping and wishing and have visualized as a perspective of happening. Make sure that you be content and happy and satisfied with where you are. Really get your feet on that solid foothold and recognize that it is what it is, but use it as a jumping board to continue the process of whatever this is, so that you can be in control and have a hand in the movement as you move forward to whatever it is that you've perceived can happen. Because the movement is coming, and you want to play a part in that. You want to be somehow interactive with this energy that's going to come and moving it in the direction, so that you can get the best out of it. Whatever it is that you're working towards, you can have a hand in making sure that it comes too. Mentally, we have Queen of Cups, and I just perceive this as you're at a time, it's an emotional time for you. And so mentally, you're at a time where you're really feeling all of this. And again, I feel that that's why the 5 of Cups is in your current energy. Whether it is your current energy right this moment when you're watching this, or if you're transitioning into that from that solid foothold and then suddenly becoming aware of, though you have a solid foothold, you still have this kind of emotional stuff happening in the background. You are correct in that it is a very emotional time, and you're feeling it deeply, and you need to not disregard it. No matter how strong you feel the foothold is, and no matter how fast or slow that action is occurring, you're being told to pay attention to it and feel what you're supposed to feel. Validate your feelings, and then respond to them. Don't react, because I think it's a very emotionally high-strung time for you. Whatever is going on, it's intense, and it's calling for you to be very vulnerable, whether you want to be or not. It's requiring some vulnerability from you, or it's at least ripping open some vulnerability, exposing some things of you that you don't want exposed for some reason, and you can't necessarily control it. So you need to just feel it. Feel what you feel. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with your feelings, whatever they may be, and deal with them as they come. Allow yourself to feel them so you can deal with it. So that when you have to participate in this movement that is beyond you and your personal space, but involves this other entity, whatever it is that's going on, that you can respond instead of react. And therefore, the more you manage to be with your emotions, nurture it, recognize it, validate it, and help yourself to cope with whatever it is that's going on, the less vulnerable you'll feel as you move through. I'm not saying you're not going to feel vulnerable. Whatever it is going to, like I said, it makes you feel exposed for some reason. And some facet, emotionally, you feel exposed as a result of what you're going through. And I don't think that that's going to go away, no matter how you try to cope, no matter how strong your foothold is, no matter how much you realize that you are going through this emotional time period of your life in this month. It's not going to make the recognition of it's not going to make the exposure to vulnerability go away. So you need to do what you need to do to make sure that you're coping with it appropriately, so that as you deal with whatever else is creating this motion, you can do so from a stronger place emotionally. So nurture yourself as you need to nurture. And I don't think it's nurturing in the sense of taking time to read or take a hot bath or to have coffee with a friend. I think it's more of just recognizing what you're feeling. Vocalize it. If you need to write about it, write about it. If you have a mentor or a close friend that you can talk about what you're going through, talk to them about it and actually verbalize what it is that you're feeling. Because when you verbalize, you take back some of the power you're giving by not verbalizing and by ignoring it. So I think that that's where the nurturing is coming. You need to recognize it and you need to validate it to yourself. You need to tell yourself, yep, this is how I feel. Yes, this is crappy. Yes, this is how I feel in response to this. Because then you can work with this energy that's going to come from a more solid foothold, because you're more aware of who you are emotionally. And so when you are exposed, it's not going to feel quite as exposed because you've already met that part of yourself. So that's where I feel that the Queen of Cups is. And this is all going to be something you're going to have. And I know this is in the mind space, but this is all something you're going to have to work on in your own head. And like I said, you can call on a mentor, a friend, or someone that you trust to tell not only what you're going on, but how you feel about it. And you need to have the space that you can express how you feel. And then after you verbalize it, if it doesn't sound right, you can take it back. So you need to be talking to either yourself or someone you trust that you know that once you verbalized it, if it doesn't sit right or it doesn't quite fit, you're able to retract that. Because sometimes we don't really recognize how we feel until we actually have said it out loud. And then we realize that that doesn't quite fit. And so we look for the better suited words or sentence or phrase that fits that. So that's the kind of space that you need. But this is all going to be going on in your head. This is things that are going to fill up your mind as you progress through the month of August, and whatever it is that's going on continues to carry and flow through the month of August. This is what you're going to be dealing with. And so emotionally, we have Ace of Wands, and I feel that if you manage to do what you need to do to verbalize and expose yourself to yourself, so that when you are exposed and made vulnerable outside of your own control, it's not going to feel as strong, because you've already recognized that part of yourself. If you manage to do that, you have this potential of being able to have better control of yourself. And I feel that that's where the Ace of Wands comes emotionally. And that means that as you go through the month of August, you'll have a better handle on how you react. Instead of reacting, you'll probably be more responsive, so you can flow with what's going on. And like I said, when those exposures happen, they won't feel as though they're exposing you as deeply, because you've already met that side of yourself. You already know how that's going to feel, and you're already kind of sort of over it. So this gives you the potential of being able to act and react and respond on a different level emotionally. And like I said, I feel whatever it is going on, whatever this is that's going on, it's very, very emotionally based. It's intense emotionally. That's kind of what I'm getting. It's just very intense emotionally. So dealing with it, coping with it, taking some of these mechanisms or finding mechanisms that you know that does work allows you from your heart space, for lack of a better term, when things arise and when this movement goes in a direction that you don't necessarily can control, but you have to flow with because it is what it is, you will have a new place of acting and reacting and responding, and it will give you more control in the sense that you will feel like you haven't had your power taken from you during this process. And I feel that that's important to you for some reason. It's something that you've been dealing with. Whatever this is has made you feel powerless, which is why that self-satisfaction was so strong, because you finally felt not quite as powerless as you once did. And working with some of this is going to give you back some of your personal power that you felt that you've lost. And that's why this Ace of Wands is so important, because it begins with your emotional status. And the emotional status is heavily linked with how you perceive and think, and how it connects to how you feel, and therefore how you act and react. So definitely that's why the Ace of Wands is in the emotional part. Like I said, it's just a very intense emotional time for you right now, and you're really, really trying to work through it. And it's reflective again. Here we have the Three of Swords and the spiritual concept. I feel that you are so consumed with how much is going on emotionally that your spirituality as a whole isn't really on the forefront. And sometimes I feel that there's a bit of bitterness that kind of comes when you do maybe possibly consider spirituality, because of how trying and how harsh this intense emotional state has been for you. And it's not that you are completely giving up on your spirituality. It's not that you completely hate the powers that be, but you definitely have had those moments of feeling, I don't get it. I don't understand. Why is this happening? You know what? I don't even want to talk to you right now. Whoever you are, the powers that be, I don't even want to talk to you. I don't even think of your existence, because I can't handle it right now. They feel that that's kind of what the Three of Swords is representing as far as your spirituality. You just feel that you've been betrayed in some level, and it hurts. It hurts so much to think that you've worked hard and you've done what you've done, and you felt like you have followed the course that you felt spiritually you were supposed to follow, and you feel like you've been let down, because despite that, the answers that you thought should have come are not the answers that have come. So emotionally, you're just really struggling, or spiritually, but it's linked to emotionally. You're really struggling, and you can't disconnect the two as far as your spirituality is concerned and how you feel this intense, raw emotional experience that you're undergoing. But at the same time, I feel that there's a level of you that doesn't want to give up either. You're not going to completely blame and disregard your spirituality. You just don't want to deal with it right now. It hurts too much to deal with it. And I don't know that you're really being told, the Three of Swords, that you need to deal with it. I think that eventually you will have to. But I think that the Three of Swords is just indicating that the universe knows, spirit knows, that you really feel like you've had a sword plunged in your heart right now regarding spirituality. And it's okay. Speak that, verbalize that too. When you're taking the time to verbalize how you feel, you can verbalize that too. It's your honest, authentic truth, and there's nothing wrong with speaking your honest, authentic truth, because when you do that, you create space to find the root of that, and then you know where you need to be working when the time comes. So I feel that the Three of Swords is in the spiritual point, because like I said, it's just spirit, the universe, powers that be, letting that you know, they know. It is known that you feel slightly betrayed, and you are allowed to create space to feel that. And when you're ready to work on this, the powers that be is ready to accept it and will work with you when it's time. But just keep working, moving. And like I said, I feel it doesn't mean that you've completely disregarded your spirituality. And when the time comes to work on that, it'll happen. But it is being told to you that it is recognized that you feel that it's a really crappy time, and you're not really thrilled with this raw, intense emotional time period that you're going through. Your strength is the Page of Cups, and I feel this is definitely letting you know your strength is finding your way to sit on the throne of your emotions. This is letting you know that you can be in control. Again, you can be in control of the actions and the reactions from your emotional state. You got to nurture yourself. You have to be honest with yourself so that the actions that you take that create those raw experiences that require you to be vulnerable, whether you are the one opening yourself up or you're being opened by another person. Your strength is going to find a way to sit on the throne of your emotions. Figure out how you truly feel before you have to feel it, so that you are in control when those occurrences happen. That's your strength for this month. And like I said, it just seems like it's going to be a really intense and emotional month for you. And just don't lose faith. Just work with your emotions. Allow yourself to be vulnerable with yourself so you can be authentically honest and speak your truths. Whatever you're feeling or experiencing, speak it and allow it to be and work with it. And like I said, your strength is sitting on the throne of your emotions, really getting to know them. You're going to find a lot of power and gain some of that power back that you feel that you've lost from those moments of raw vulnerability that you've experienced prior to and you may experience as you progress through the month of August. Possible obstacle, we have 5 of Wands. I feel that with that action that's going to come, there's some chaos, but I feel like I don't even have to tell you about this because you already know. Whatever this is something that it's not new. It's something that's been ongoing and it's kind of had an ebb and flow to it. You've dealt with it. It kind of comes to a level of not peace, but quiet, I guess would be a good term. And then it gets riled back up again and then you have to deal with it. And then things kind of settle down and you think that it smooths over and you come to a place where it's quiet again and then it riles back up again and there's some chaos. And I feel that this has been a pattern that you've been dealing with for a little while now. So you are fully aware of what this is. It is something you've been dealing with and it's going to come again. And you already know. I feel like you already know. It's probably by the time that you are watching this video, the rumblings of the chaos has already started. The chaos may not have hit yet, but you see it coming. And I feel it is tied to that movement, that energy that you're supposed to be working with. It's tied to that, but I feel you already know. That's why you're watching this video. The chaos has been coming and going, and it's, like I said, you probably already felt the rumblings of it coming again. You're very aware of it, and you know it's an obstacle. And I think not only is it an obstacle because it's chaos and you've had to deal with it and you're tired of dealing with it, but it's an obstacle specifically for this month because of the intense, raw, emotional energy that you've already been dealing with and that you will be dealing with or have been dealing with before, during, and after the chaos arises. And this is why it's so crucial for you to sit on the throne of your emotions, verbalize your truth, get to know and nurture your truth so that you know yourself, so that when you do get exposed, it doesn't feel so raw and vulnerable. But yeah, I feel that you already are fully aware of the chaos that's about to ensue or has already ensued because it's something you've been dealing with on a regular basis and you're tired. And when we're tired, we're emotional. And sometimes our emotions are irrational or they're reactory instead of responsive. So, again, sit on the throne of your emotions, verbalize, nurture, do what you need to do so that you can take care of it, so that your place of action regarding your emotional status is a stronger, more purer place. So potential ending for the month is the 8 of Swords. I feel that some of this stuff is still not going to come to an end yet. It's something that's still going to be a battle for you. And if you don't get a handle on your personal ties emotionally to it, it's going to feel more stifling than it is. I'm not saying that it's not stifling, but I feel that whatever it is, it's been an ongoing, intense experience that's not going to stop with the snap of a finger, and you're already aware of this. You know this is going to take time to resolve. So the key to the month is making sure that you are in control of your emotions to the state of being able to to come from a good solid foothold, and your actions and reactions to whatever is going on is going from a solid place emotionally, a solid place for you, not the other people involved, a solid place for you. And if you can't get a handle on that, you have the potential of feeling more bound and stifled and struggle mentally, because you're going to go around in your head over and over again what has transpired, what could have transpired, what you could have done, what could have happened, what you should have done. All of those things that really bind us and make us feel trapped and make us feel like we're not winning, even when it's not even an issue of winning or losing. So you have the potential of this feeling like, things aren't getting resolved, and feeling stuck and feeling frustrated as a result of it. The way to avoid that stuck feeling is, again, get in control of the emotions. So there's parts of this aspect I feel you can't control. It's out of your control. All you can control is how you react or respond and your actions throughout this process. That is what you're in control of. And if you don't get a handle on that, you're going to end up ending the month feeling bound and exhausted, and that self-satisfaction that you felt because you felt you were finally on top of things is going to wane as a result of it. It's not that this is going to happen. It has the potential of happening. The other side of this is that if you do get on that good foothold and you do manage to get in control of your emotions, you have the potential of being able to turn a blind eye to what's happening, so that you're not reacting, but you're just going with the flow as you're supposed to. You're able to just do what is required of you to get to the next step, so that you can see this through to the finish, so that you can see whatever this is resolved. You have the potential one way or the other, but it all comes down to you taking the time to get a handle and control and verbalizing and being honest with yourself regarding your emotions, so that they're not controlling you. And therefore, if they're controlling you, they're controlling the situation. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a card to kind of wrap this up, maybe give you a little something that you can carry with you as you progress through August. A little nugget that's going to be maybe self-soothing. Hopefully we can give you something that you can kind of maybe give be like a mantra. So when things get really trying and you're struggling emotionally, or you're feeling raw or vulnerable, this will be a little bit of something you can repeat to yourself. So let me see what we have. Eros, Spirit of Cupid, and Lavender, Me, Myself, and I. And I felt the need to pull both of these because I feel that they come together very uniquely for you, considering what I've just given you as a reading. And I think Spirit of Cupid has to do with love. And you combine that with Me, Myself, and I, it just has to do with taking the time to see yourself from a new lover's point of view. To the point of being acceptant of your emotional vulnerability and the rawness that you experience. And the more you can accept that raw, vulnerable side of yourself, the less it's going to feel exposed whenever you are in an experience where you would otherwise feel exposed. So it's all about hitting yourself with that Cupid's arrow of love, and being able to extend that externally while you are dealing with the situation, having that new perspective from that new foothold of reacting from a loving heart. But it begins with yourself, like Me, Myself, and I. It begins deep within you. So Spirit of Cupid, Me, Myself, and I. Those are some words to kind of live by as you move through this month. Take care of yourself and make the month great. All right, that's all I have for you, Virgos, and hopefully I will see you in September.